Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Barbarian and today we're going to embark on a grand journey here in Manor Lords as we begin a new era, a new settlement, and as we try to succeed in a campaign I think that couldn't be any harder. Today we return here. We already did one campaign. You should definitely check that out if you haven't seen it. Much like that campaign, this one will also be focused on me building historically accurate villages, discussing what life was like, and so on and so forth. This game has so much love and so much care really put into everything going on here so that it can be as true to history as a game possibly can be. And I think it is best enjoyed when we take a look at it through that lens. We're going to do all of that, and still we're going to do something very different in this particular campaign, because in this one we will be playing on challenging. Now in the last campaign we started roughly right here. You can see the cliffside that was so beautiful for our fortification. We started building here, we built several cities, and yet we never actually won. I never finished that campaign because I said to myself, you know what? I want to do this on challenging. I want to see what the AI has against us and how we can stop them, and that is exactly what we are going to do here. This will mean, since we are not playing on normal but on challenging, that we are not going to get free weaponry. We are not going to be in a position where the AI can't attack us until much later. They can do it at any moment. We will also have harsher bandits, more droughts, and of course worse weather, all of which will be pretty detrimental to my success chances here. Nonetheless, I think it should make the game a bit more interesting. I think when you're truly at risk of being raided, when maybe your village does actually get raided and everything burns, I think the rebuilding can be just as much fun as just winning. So in this campaign, I actually want to finish it. I want to move on and make it so that we win this campaign by taking over, of course, the entire map. That will be the goal for this campaign, so you can see it can be pretty long unless we just get eliminated very early on. But of course, there is much more going on here. As we do this, we will also try to do everything in our power to build historical things and talk about history as much as we can, because yeah, this game really is worth it. So just to be clear here, don't be worried, I'm not going to rush, we're not going to just min-max, we're not going to sacrifice any of the, historical stuff that you are used to here on the channel for, the difficulty. I just think and / hope that I can beat that difficulty anyway. Now let's take a look at where we start. We start right here in Goldhof. It is directly adjacent to our enemy, and I selected the starting area for this beautiful reason right here. It's not a cliffside, but it is a stream, and bodies of water were of course incredibly important because having fresh water available would mean that survival was, well, quite a bit more guaranteed. And this is something where I of course want to play into it. I want to build there, I want to make sure that we have a thriving town, a thriving village at the very least, roughly down there, although we do start up here. Other than that, our area also has a rich berry deposit, and the rest are just normal deposits. It could be better, it could be worse. I did already notice that over here in Zweiau, so just adjacent to us, we have an iron deposit and a clay deposit. Look at that, they're both rich, and this could be an amazing, amazing location. Maybe even for, a major city. I mean, we'll see when we get to that, okay? That is, I think, quite a bit away. Other than that, let's take a look at fertility. What do we have here? We got Emma fertility. That, wow, this is a breadbasket. Yeah, look at that. We can basically have it everywhere, which is really satisfying to me because it means I can be a bit more liberal when it comes to where I choose my settlements here. I don't have to, plan everything exactly around fertility here. Flax, okay, looking great. Yeah, we got some really good material. And then barley. Oh, that is so neat. We actually have a difference here between flax and barley that is quite interesting, because it will mean that we probably will have emmer and barley and flax and emmer fields down here, right? So like it's going to be a mix and matching there, which I think is nice. We don't have to do that more too often, but in this case we can kind of rely on that. So yeah, this down here would also be flax, if anything, maybe just emmer. Yeah, we'll see. What I'm saying is our fertility is actually looking great, and that is really good news because it means that I can use this as the breadbasket of our empire once we start building it, meaning we can probably relax on how we build future cities, although this very first one here will be incredibly intense. Let me be clear about this, and by the way, what the hell is this? Why is the street not connected? Anyway, let's be completely for real about this. In the first 2 years, I will have to build pretty optimally. The reason here is that bandits will come, and since we don't get a free weapon delivery, we need to build or basically trade for our very own weapons. Which means I really need to prioritize that. Not just that, but on challenging, it's also the case that the approval level can go down without a warning. I mean, my god, it can drop like a stone so quickly. We need to be kind of smart about it. So if you are also thinking about playing challenging, then, well, you can follow me here, because at least the way I start out should work out. My plans for this particular region, and let's actually walk around. We're gonna waste a couple of seconds here, just so that I can take a look at this area right here. Yeah, look at that. We have... Actually, this is not that... Yeah, this is actually not that steep a slope. I think the elevation level here is quite okay. Which means we can have houses like on this level. It wouldn't look weird. But now look at that. That is a lot of elevation. I'm not sure how we're going to place our houses there. And by the way, of course, a new message comes in. Victory condition is dominance. We need to take over all enemy regions. Makes perfect sense. Let's put ourselves up here a little bit. Yeah, okay, so this is way steeper. I'm not sure that I'm going to have houses here on this steeper slope, but my goal is to have houses on this particular road. Yeah, and look at that. Here it actually becomes a lot less slopey. The reason for this is that this is a very, very typical settlement type. You know me, I love talking about settlement types. We've talked about the Rundling, the Angerdorf, we have talked about the Haufendorf, so many different village types, even the Straßendorf we've talked about. And today we're going to build a very particular Straßendorf. This is, of course, a street, so this is a king's road. And if we build houses now alongside this road, that is a very typical type of, village that you will find, for example, in Poland, that you will find anywhere in Eastern Germany, really. And we are looking at a situation where we are doing this in a forested area. The opportunity that we have here now is a Waldhufendorf. So a Waldhufendorf is effectively just along a road. You have certain plots, they're roughly the same size every time. It is a planned village, so this is not an unplanned, organically growing village. Rather, it is directly designed for colonization efforts in the east of Germany in the medieval period. And we're going to build these along this road because there are some oddities for the houses that are really interesting to discuss. Of course, the economy of the forest in the medieval period, as undervalued as it is in the game currently, also very interesting. And then last but not least, it also has some impact on how we do fields. Now, we're going to build a village alongside this road. I think we're going to mostly focus on up here for starters, and then down there, not sure whether we're going to leave an empty space. Maybe houses, even with this big of a slope, will, just work, but we'll see. Anyway, now there is something special to how we will build this, and this is something that I will be doing this entire playthrough. In history, obviously, when you had a forest, you couldn't just go, oh, you know what, Hans, why don't you go ahead? You place down a field and all of the trees will simply disappear. If I click this button right here, all of these trees would be gone. We can't do that, or rather we could, but I'm not gonna do that because that's no fun. What we're going to do instead, and this is a major commitment that I'm definitely making, is I will be letting my villagers cut down every last tree before I place buildings there, or at least most of the trees anyway. So we're going to place this right here, this logging camp, and right next to it a woodcutter's lodge. We're going to move them whenever we actually clear this area, but for starters, the idea is that they will make this land cultivated. They will get rid of this forest so that we can then place houses, rather than me just artificially getting rid of all the trees. So the idea ultimately comes down to the following. I want to make it so that we have to fight our way through the forest, so that we can cultivate the land and make sure that we can actually live in it, much like people did historically. Now, we do also need a saw pit. There are some buildings here that we just need to place down. Obviously, a forester's hut is not needed, just judging by the fact that we won't be reforesting this area. We just want to get rid of the trees. We do need a hunting lodge. I'm not sure, by the way. I think eventually, and that eventually doesn't even need to be that far away, we're going to get rid of these wild animals. They will just migrate to a different area in the map. But basically, I want to get this part of the land as well. Oh yeah, look at that. The fertility there is fine as well. We want to take control of this area, and that includes pushing out these animals. But for the time being, the hunting lodge is over there in the perfect location. Oh, look at that. The forager's hut can go right here, and we don't even have to take down a single tree. That is really nice. Yeah, whenever we find a free slot, that is where we want to place it, essentially. Just got to connect that, of course, to the road. Same goes for the hunting lodge right here. And I'm looking at this now. I would like it. Oh, that is nice. I would like it if we could basically connect in here so that we get an extra road. If you have watched the previous campaign, then you will already know this. If you haven't watched it, then this may be news to you, but this is what is called an anger. An anger is a central space inside of a village, which sometimes would be round, a square. It would be most of the time, really most of the time, at least in German villages, would be an eye-shaped thing. So you can see this right here. It has the general shape of an eye. And this would be a general ground for, well, basically all the villages, right? Now that we've actually placed this, we can walk around here a little bit as well. And this anger is a central square that is owned by the entire community. So for example, if there is, a space for grazing for your sheep, then everybody's sheep can go there. If there's a location where there's a tavern or where there's a church, then this would essentially be this one right here. Now I will say, this anger is very, very small. Certain villages, much like the Angerdorf that we built in the last campaign, have proper Anger, which means the smithy will be there, which means the church will be there. It is a really, really big and central place. That's not the case here. This one will be mostly, I think, maybe for storage, maybe for granary. Of course, I think most certainly for the well. We're probably also going to see the marketplace in this area. But the base idea, of course, is that this will serve as our central plaza. And you know what? I'm looking at it now. My God, this is so steep. Look at how steep this is. I'm not sure. We might just leave this. We might even make the Anger smaller in a future episode, because look at how much the slope angle changes right here. Until roughly here, we basically have an even ground. We can do a lot here, but then afterwards it gets very, very steep. We have to see what the houses look like. I'm really mostly concerned that the houses will look a bit odd if we build them alongside the hill here, down the hill basically, making it so that it would look a bit ugly. So yeah, we'll get there anyway. The point just currently being we're planning a rough Anger in that area. And here come the workers, our very, very first settlers. Now let me tell you, since we are playing in a way where I am going to have them get rid of all the trees, by hand, these are really the very first colonizers of this area. This will suck for them. It will not be a great experience. They're not going to have a great time. And they will probably suffer. I learned ages ago now in high school, I learned a phrase that mostly was applied to the expansion westwards in the United States of America, where the first generation would get death, the second would get illness and poverty, and the third one would get wealth. I'm not sure what the English phrasing of this saying is. Obviously, I heard it in German. But the idea here, I think, holds true for our colonization as well. And since we are doing a Waldhufendorf, like I mentioned, although we're going to go into the details there a bit later, since we are doing this, I think it is fair to say that we are somewhere either in Bohemia, Silesia, or maybe in southern and eastern Saxony, because that is where this type of village is the most common. If you grew up there, or if, for example, you still actually live there, you will probably be seeing some of these villages in your surroundings. There we go. We have the second pop-up here. It is this message from Hildebold von Bärenreuter, our terrible Baron neighbor. I hate that guy. I hope that he doesn't kill me. Listen, he doesn't look like a trustworthy fella, but I'm gonna be honest with you. I hope that we can actually win this against him. The start is going to be the most difficult one, or the most difficult period, which is obviously also why I am somewhat optimizing here. Yes, I'm doing some LARP stuff. Yes, I'm doing stuff, according to historic ideas, but at the same time, I am building this logging camp. They will produce a ton of logs as soon as they can, and then we're going to immediately shift them into the saw pit, even assign and micro the ox towards the saw pit, because the sooner we have 25 planks, the more can I hire, or the earlier can I hire another ox, and, well, the quicker will it be when it comes to building the church. And trust me, the church, well, let me just say it will be necessary, because no matter what we do, everybody will simply leave our village if we don't have a church. We talked about it a little bit when it comes to the weapon armaments and the droughts and so on, but playing on this difficulty also makes it so that not fulfilling the needs of your citizens, well, they will leave very, very, very quickly. Not just through starvation or something like that. We're going to assign 2 people here. We're going to make sure that they take down as many trees as possible. You know what? I'm actually going to micro this. Nope, that's not where I wanted it. We're going to get rid of these trees first. I want this entire area here. I want this empty. Because these will be our first locations, yeah, for our houses. That is essentially what we're doing here. So let's get rid of this. That is the highest priority. And then we can go from there. Like I said, the idea here currently is that we want to fulfill the needs of our citizens as quickly as possible. If you've never played challenging, if you're afraid of it, I mean, honestly, you probably deserve to be afraid of it, because currently the way it is the hardest challenging that it probably will ever be in this game. What I mean here is that the easiest path to having your own forces, to not being afraid of raiders or the enemy, would be if I was able to just build a ton of archers, and they would be very strong, because you only need planks for that. It's very easy to do. However, archers are so nerfed in this version that I can't rely on them at all. If we take a look at this right now, these units right here, and they're just brigands. These are just brigands for hire that our AI enemy is bringing. They don't have proper helmets. Most of them don't have proper gambesons. Actually, this looks like gambesons to me. I think they're actually all wearing gambesons. Anyway, my point being, these units in the current version would destroy archers. The first brigands that invade us in year 2 will also destroy archers. So yeah, you have to be a lot more elaborate when it comes to your weapon production than you would have to be once this is patched and the balancing is different. So if you're too afraid to jump into challenging there, then that is fine. But I'm telling you right now, I hope at the very least, the blueprint of what I am doing here should already allow you to kind of hop into, playing challenging here in Manor Lords. So like I said, first things first, we need to take care of the needs of our population so that more migrants will come in. The reason for this is we need to be over 50% approval. We can do that only if we have berries, if we have meat, if we have leather, and of course if we have a church. Oh, and a well, I mean, that also belongs in there for sure. But yeah, I think we can get all of those done. I'm very, no, you know what? That's too many varies. I am quite confident. I think that is way more accurate. So, what we're doing right now is we're just having a bunch of trees here cut down, and then we're going to assign somebody to the saw pit and actually assign the oxen to it, or the ox to it. The reason here is that all we currently want to do is wait for more planks to become available. I will also put somebody here into the hunting camp, that's right. And then somebody over here. We currently don't need anybody building anything. The only reason we currently exist is so that this beautiful saw pit right here works. This timber, you know how it works. Is somebody already coming here? So that this saw pit works this timber into planks. If they get that done, we can win. Although, you reckon I myself could take out all the brigands coming for me? I feel like I could do it, right? I'm sorry. I love this so much. It's so good. Oh, there she is. Yeah, get to work. I really love this, by the way. Building this downwards rather than elevating the tree stump, right? Maybe that is what you would want to do. You take the log, you elevate it up so that you can cut through in the same manner. But building downwards means you don't need to lift anything. There's less work in this type of construction. It makes everything much, much easier. There you go. The first 5 planks are done. And that is actually really, really good news, because with 5 planks, I can go on and get a second ox. And that's exactly what I'm about to do. There you go. We can upgrade the small stable. But before we do that, I'm going to relocate it. I'm looking at this, and I really feel like we might make the Anger slightly smaller. Like if we just pull it in here already. Anyway, currently I'm going to place this hitching post. Come on, where is it? Where's the sweet spot? There it is. You know what? We're going to place it right there. This places it very, very centrally. It is a community animal. The stable is, of course, being used by the entire village. So, with that in mind, we just need to build this. Let me unassign somebody. And then we will be in a pretty good spot, because we already will have 2 oxen, which is better than I did last time when I played this here. Although, again, we were just on a normal difficulty then. Right, and now that we have built it here, we have shortened our paths, because instead of the ox constantly needing to return over there, they can be very, very close to the actual village. Now we can just upgrade it. Once it's upgraded, we go on, hire another ox, and off we go. I think we are in a pretty good position here, although this is literally just like the first month. We're just 1 month in. But look at that. This is why I was confident enough. Hey, even on challenging, I think we don't have to, manipulate how we destroy the trees. We can let them do that because they look pretty good about it, right? This is working. All right, and there you go. We have a second ox. Once we cut down this stuff, we're going to start placing down stuff. But obviously, the main priority here is now getting to 23 planks. Then we're going to unassign them from the saw pit. And then it's time for the church and for the houses to appear. At least, that's the way I picture this. I'm not sure where we're going to put the church, because it's already downhill here. It's not by much, but it's, by something. I'm wondering, maybe the church goes here. We have 1 or 2 houses right here, and then houses to the side. Not sure where we would be putting our storehouse and granary. It does not fit into the center, like, at all. Yeah, we gotta take a look at that. Maybe we do the church here and then build this alongside, like, a back road. Ooh, where you going, pal? See, so the problem, just to explain this, and this is currently unbalanced, but it's fine. We're gonna make it, okay? Don't worry about it. I'm not that confident, but, I gotta act like I am. Every time the AI ruler can take down brigands and can take down a camp, he gets influence. And that influence is then instantly being used to essentially claim more regions. The quicker I can build, be it a retinue or be it, a proper militia unit, the earlier and the better will it be for us, because then we can actually stop him from expanding too quickly, which means we can build up some buffer zones that I can just claim, and maybe he attacks them rather than my central zone. But yeah, the idea here is fundamentally, we need to build up our military relatively quickly, or the brigands and the AI are going to shred us. Which, yeah, and we have 38 planks, my god. That is too many planks. Somebody let them make too many planks. Anyway, let's take a look at this, okay? God, that really went out of control. What can we do here? We first, I think, want to build a wooden church. Now, again, like I said, this is Waldhufendorf. Oh, and yeah, look at the elevation lines here. This is a crazy slope. We are looking at a Waldhufendorf. And the Waldhufendorf would more often than not basically have the church inside, generally where the houses were also located at that road. Not inside of the Anger, just adjacent to the road. So this is roughly what we're going to do. Having a tiny Anger here is very much in line with what already exists in these type of villages. Now, I think I'm going to place the church... Yeah, I think I'm going to place the church... Ah, this is like a weird turning point here, huh? If I place you right here... And then I'm going to do a little bit of an experiment. We run a road like this, right? And let me ask you something. What does it look like if I placed these houses like this? Honestly, first of all, it's a bit too long here. I would much prefer it like this. But I also think... I really like the idea instead of building the storehouse like this towards the main road, and then the granary. Okay, that's odd. let me lengthen this road here. How about this? Is this now working? Yes, there we go. So that means we have the backdrop right here, comes directly from the central street. We can store it right there. Makes it maybe even a bit more defensible, because this is somewhat isolated, especially if enemies come from below the hill or from below. We can stop them right there. And that means we have these two and can now put directly next to them our very first plot. This plot should be a bit longer. Yep, there you go. Beautiful. And it can fit 2 families. That is perfect. And this will be the first plot. You can see these tiny trees right here. They're not actually trees. So that means we've already taken down everything there. This is just, and I think I can remove this just to show it. This is just shrubbery. Boom, there you go. So, like I said, we're going to deforest the entire area first and then place our buildings. And this right here is the first burgage plot. Let me set up the church to be the highest priority. So we have the storage, we have the first burgage plot. I don't think that I already placed down a well, right? So I need to still do this. Right there. Yeah, seems perfect. And now the big goal is to get rid of these trees. Actually, there's barely any trees here. I think we can safely build here without this being against the spirit of this. So that means we can now place down these plots like this. I want them to be pretty long. These were characteristically rather long. And there you go. All of a sudden, we will get our very first villages, our very first burgage plots, allowing us then to, well, actually start building our village. Anyway, so that means we need 1 builder. Actually, oh, we don't actually need any builder. See, here's a trick that I learned, and I do need more people wood cutting. Let's just put all of you in there. Even if you have no free builders, people will still take the oxen to bring, for example, timber and such to these locations. So for the time being, it's actually fine if we don't have a single builder, because they are still going to supply these regions here, these areas here, with building materials. You can see it right there. So if you were in doubt, if you were thinking, okay, well, I don't know about this, I always need a free builder, you actually kind of don't. You can let them bring all of the goods in, and then afterwards unassign somebody, and they will actually build it. Let me just take a look at this right here. Before we start actually putting down our very first houses, we have this really nice wide open space there. I do think that this will be grazing grounds and farming, essentially. This is a very nice open space. It could also just be the village expansion. Take a look at this bald head shining in the sun. You love to see it. And then we're going to actually go into town right here. I think we built the church in a space where it will be the tallest building by far. Yeah, this is still even ground right here. It's not like we build it downhill here by the slope. I really like, by the way, how they have the fence already laid out. They just aren't putting it up yet. Together, actually, with the gate. Oh, I never noticed the gate there. Interesting. And then, of course, we go down there. And all of the buildings that you can see in front of us right here, except for the hitching post, wait, that's not the hitching post, that's the saw pit actually, all of these buildings are going to disappear once the forest has disappeared, right? Remember, we are deforesting and then we're moving these buildings so that we can deforest somewhere else. This is, I think, one of the aspects where the game probably gets it the least right? So, well, this game's buildings are all kind of set between like 1350 and 1450. That's roughly where the architecture is from. You know, it's Franconia, of course, but that is roughly what that is. In that time period, deforestation had already happened. They were effectively, in Central and Western Europe, 2 periods of major deforestation. We're talking about the Carolingian period, so that's like 600 to 900 roughly there. And then 1100 to 1400. Those were the 2 periods. You can see 1400, yep, that is roughly when this ends. The deforestation is already done, and that is when these buildings are set. Now, that's kind of not the case, right? If you launch into this, you will find these completely untouched forests, dark forests that are completely unexplored. Nobody's living there, it's all, you know, just in the middle of nowhere and so on. That is not how it really was in this period. But, well, you know, hey, it's still a game. It's basically a mix between how it was at the start of the Ostsiedlung and how it was at the end of the Ostsiedlung. Now, I really like to play this in literally that way. We have to deforest all this stuff and only then can move in. The fight against the forest, the fight to clear the land, make it, you know, cultivated, in German we call it Urbarmachung, all of that stuff was vital to the colonization of East Germany. And I really love this topic. It comes very short here in the game, because like I said, the game does a lot of kind of mix and match type of things to basically cover a long historical period and make it a viable colonization, well, medieval city builder game, right? But I hope that in the future going forward, having a forest, cultivating a forest, reforest, and then even using that forest for economic gain, that is going to be something that is going to be more valued. I read a while ago that, well, essentially, when it comes to these forests, right, you would not just have them for firewood. Obviously, that plays a big role, turning it into charcoal, using it as building materials, and so on. But if you are a village, and if you are a relatively poor village, which we basically will be, as it now rains here, and I'm really happy, by the way. So when it rains and you don't get a pop-up in this mode, so in the challenging mode, that something went bad in your storage, then you know you did everything right. On normal, the rain only has a chance to destroy your supplies that are in bad places. In challenging, it will always and instantly do it, so we basically got lucky here. But yeah, anyway, what I'm saying is, these type of, you know, forests right here were very important for example, animal husbandry. In poor villages, obviously, maybe you had animals, but feeding them could be difficult. So what is better than having a natural feeding place, like, for example, a forest? That could be really bad, could be really great for the forest, but much like we have this right here, we have, there it is, a pasture that we can just place, and if you place it right here, no harm done, there you go. It is just in this green space, in this generally grassy area. Oh, and there you go, stocks damaged by weather, supplies. I hate to see it. Oh well, you can't help it. You can't really do anything about that, can you? Now, the important part here is that this is not a part of the game currently at all. I really hope that, you know, much like we are building that Waldhufendorf, that eventually the forest will play a really big role. If you have a forest right next to your house, if that is maintained, if that has a lot of growth, you don't need to feed your animals. It should be easier to, for example, maintain goats, although that's another story. Goats can be very harmful to nearby forests. My point being, we're playing this a bit more roleplay than the game actually currently demands from us. It's not necessary to maintain or to push back a forest. We're doing this just kind of because it's fun, and because, well, I'll be honest with you, if you're building a village like this, if you need to first rid yourself of the natural barricade, the forest, I think your village will also grow differently than if you just say, hey, I can just basically draw over this. So I think this will just be better as well, to get me to build in a nice way. Man, this is the first time that I've built a church this early, but trust me, on challenging, it is needed. If you don't build a church this early, nobody will ever migrate to you, and you will just die to the barbarian bandits. And look at this dude, oh my god.
Move that there, on and on.
I believe you, this guy sounds depressed, and I think for a good reason. He is carrying these rocks like the true soldier he is. Can't be good for your back though. Here we go, they're putting in just the last touches. And in just a second, the church will be done. Last time, in the last campaign, I think I needed 2 episodes, and it was like the full winter. I think we passed winter before I built the church. On normal, you just really don't need to prioritize it. Obviously, it makes people happier, but you can make your people happy. It's not that big a deal if they don't have it. On challenging, if they don't have the church need, that very actively goes against your approval rating, which means, well, you will stay below 50, and then that's it for you. I would also recommend, if you are in that position, if you're playing on this difficulty, and this actually, I haven't done that yet, so I need to do this as well, you should probably build up all of your needs before you build housing. Let me explain that for a second. You can see it right here. Our approval currently is only being pushed down by homelessness. Despite, I mean, my people aren't eating, they're not clothed, they don't have firewood, etc, etc, etc. Which means, as soon as we build houses, our approval rating is going to dip. I'm going to go ahead and build the tannery right here. The urine-soaked tannery will be right over here, and I'm actually going to declare you as the highest importance, because then we will have berries, we will have meat, and we will have leather, which are 3 primary needs, which is, you know, definitely what we need to attract more migrants. Like I said, on challenging, you need to play a little bit optimized, at least in the start. Really looking forward to, like, long term, right, when we actually have a village. It should be more interesting to maintain happiness and to keep snowballing our population, since they are harder to keep happy. At least, I would think so, on this level of difficulty. Ah, you know, now I'm seeing this. Yeah, I don't love the gate going... I don't love the gate going into this garden over here, okay? We'll see about that. We shall see about this. This may look a bit weird, and if it does, I may move this building away. We may do that, but not yet. Oh, and you know what I almost forgot? In the last campaign, I gave a particular village of ours, the Rundling, Kasritz, I gave them Sorbian names, which was super cool. I really loved seeing that. But you know what? This time we're gonna do it differently. We are playing very immersive, but I think it's fine if I name some of these folks right here with your names. People in the comments. If you leave a comment, there's a chance that I'm gonna put you into the game. And if you, you know, die, if you are too stupid to dig a hole, for example, then I can call out your name directly. I think that is going to be a bit more fun. It was not really that noticeable to have Sorbian names, as cool as it indeed was. I think it's fine if we have this one abridged version of immersiveness here. Anyway, yeah, we're building this up, and very, very quickly here, we should be in a position, let me go, there you go, where we can hopefully look into basically having migration start, right? Because once we have the tannery, once we have some leather getting ready, there you go, look at that, the leather is doing well, the well got constructed, that's a good coincidence. Yeah, I think we are very, very close to actually setting up our village proper here. And you know what, let's place our marketplace now as well. Don't want to make it too big, this is just the starter marketplace. Actually, let's make it even smaller. Yeah, you know what, that's a cute little marketplace. 15 stalls, I think that's completely fine. 15 stalls for this village should be plenty. And there you go, they're building the first market stalls now. We got a food stall already. I have also, by the way, told the logging camp, and there he goes. Of course, there he goes. He is claiming Waldbrand. So that is this central square right here. That is disastrous. I need to both create a retinue as soon as possible, and I need to create a militia with weaponry as soon as possible. But that is something I think for episode 2 anyway. Because we can't stop him from claiming this. I would like it if I could claim 3 territories before he can claim everything, but we'll see, okay? If I have to fight him fairly early, then I have to fight him fairly early. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. Let's also expand the living space right here. I want to make sure that we can house as many people as possible. But like I was saying, we are currently deforesting this area. And the reason is essentially that in a Waldhufendorf, the fields would be directly behind the houses. Which means every house would have its own field strip directly behind itself. And that is exactly how I would like to build it here. We have to talk a little bit, I think, about accessibility of these fields, since they are so directly behind it, but yeah, that is how they did the fields. And I mean, it's logical if you really think about it, right? Very easily accessible, makes it so that you know exactly where your field starts and where it ends, and I think in general just quite comfortable. It is one of the more comfortable field placements. We can see here as well, the approval will fall if not fulfilled. This is exactly what I was talking about. We're looking at a situation where on challenging, people get very angry if, well, you're not supplying them enough. Now, let's tell the Woodcutters Lodge to start working as well so that we can actually fulfill their needs, because if this drops far enough, and if we can't supply them, this will drop far enough, they will just abandon me. On challenging, don't feel bad if this happens to you. It's very easy for your entire village to just abandon you, which is obviously not what I want. So yeah, let's just build these houses up right here. And you know what? As we do that, yeah, look at that. We have this wide open space. Like I said, this is perfect farming area right here. We're going to have some individual houses that are slightly more spaced out. Obviously, we can also actually pull this village further and further into that direction, making it half a Straßendorf and half a Waldhufendorf. But you can see right here, our houses already look very impressive. I like the church, the way we built it. It is exactly the highest building. Let's take a look at it maybe from down here. Oh, I love that. I love the view for the church here. Yeah, this is coming along nicely. I really just hope that we're not going to lose it immediately once the bandits raid us in year 2. But you know what? Chances are we're just gonna die. Let's figure that out when we get to it, okay? Sometimes maybe getting raided and having to rebuild could be a good thing. I don't know how to convince myself of that, but hey, there's some fun in having to rebuild a village and, you know, maybe rebuilding a bit differently so that you are safer next time. Alright, now let me just check this. And please, by the way, can somebody confirm this with me? I don't know whether this is exactly true. So here's how I currently understand the market, right? Wherever your market is does not actually matter on the map. What matters is just that whatever is closest to the market gets filled first, which means this burgage plot, whenever there is something in here, will always be the first one to get filled. Now, that means that if I have this market here and it can supply the entire region, a house down here also gets supplied. I had this actually the last time we played in, where is it, right here, in Immenreuth, where a street village right here had a market, and then we had very, very distant farmsteads all the way over there, and they also got supplied. I really liked it. I thought it was cool as hell. Now, I'm not sure. What I did witness was that villagers would go to the market and actually pick up firewood. They would actually pick up the firewood, right? I don't think they pick up anything else, and I am not sure whether the trip for the firewood, you can see them maybe even right here? No, you can't actually. But I'm not sure whether the trip to the firewood stall is also when the entire house checks whether it has access to everything, so food, fuel, and clothing. But I think it might be. Can anybody confirm this? Is this a confirmed thing that whenever a house villager does a trip to the marketplace for firewood, they also check for whether they are eligible to receive all the other stuff? Not sure whether that is true, but I think it is. At least that's my feeling, because they do that trip. I mean, it's definitely something that they actually undertake. Anyway, we are building up all this stuff. I'm going to equip this burgage plot with some more space. You can see we're down to 34% now. However, we are also at a point where slowly but surely all of this is coming together. They are actually gathering all their stuff. Oh, there it was saving. And they're actually collecting all their stuff here from the marketplace, becoming happier and happier. Hopefully. That's all I can say. And I'm actually going to go ahead and let's take a look at this, right? We have this one right there. It's not that big. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and place a vegetable garden. We could do a chicken coop or whatever, but no, let's do a vegetable garden right here on this plot. That is what we're going to do with this money. I think we could... Oh, another vegetable plot. You know what? Yeah, let's give you 2 vegetable plots. I mean, why not, right? These are going to be our tertiary food source. Oh, and there we go. So what you can see now here is something that is happening in the current version. As soon as a bandit camp spawns, the enemy ruler brings his army in. Which means I need to be faster. This is going to give him influence. We need to build an army as soon as possible. Anyway, my point currently just being, we are producing more and more types of food so that we will always have enough variation to keep people happy, because the happier they are, the quicker will people migrate to us. Already we are at 37%, and our marketplace, I think, is doing... Yeah, it's doing okay. We're missing, like, one house right here, but I think... And you know what? Let me actually check this. Plowing by hand. They're just plowing. Whenever this house checks whether it has access to food... This should be, this should basically get rid of this issue right here where they currently have nothing. I would assume that we have enough market supply for everything. Anyway, we are going up in approval and we very, very quickly need more people. Why is nobody building this granary bed? Oh. Did the storm destroy all my stone? Because I built this when I had enough stone. No, I think we're good actually. Okay. There you go. We need to build this granary so that I can assign some people there. But of course, before we can do anything, we need migrants. We need more people in this location. We do have the living space, we just don't have the approval. We're gonna get there soon enough, then hopefully we can work this out. It also should be said, by the way, that these vegetable farms, I think currently are just a bit too strong, but only a bit. Don't, you know, get too worried about it, because I'm pretty sure you only need to plow them once. So the inhabitants of this house plow them once, and then they can plant and harvest every year. They never need to plow it again, which means there's one work step missing. Not sure whether that is intended, but I'll take it. That's really good news for me. Yeah, as you can see, we are slowly rising up. A big tip, like I said, is to basically get all of the needs in order first if you are playing on challenging. Because as soon as you build houses, I mean, they're looking for fuel, clothing, and food. If you don't build housing, they're just angry about homelessness, which can then dissipate fairly quickly, rather than having all of these modifiers stacked and ruining your run. We're already now looking at 49%. Everybody should be getting everything? Yes, look at that. There you go. That's beautiful. Making it so that we can now receive migrants, hopefully fairly soon. That would be really nice if we could actually get that done. I do also think that I'm going to move this logging camp down here relatively soon. Let me actually check the elevation here again, right? No, actually, I think we can put like one more house right here, but that's about it. And by the way, this looks so stupid. I need to get rid of this in due time. Yeah, this house is gonna go, or we're gonna make it smaller. Something like that anyway. There needs to be a path between the church and this house right here, I think. You really have to love the way this game looks, right? Especially in autumn, it's just so pretty. It's just such a gorgeous, gorgeous game. And already here, yeah, you can see it coming together. This is going to be a very hilly Waldhufendorf right here. You can see we have roughly equal Hufen sizes here in this general area, and then behind them, we will put the fields. I've already gotten rid of most of the trees behind these houses right here. Now the big goal, the big next step here is, of course, to get rid of the trees on the other side so that we can actually go ahead and build, you know, houses on both sides of the road here. But in general, I think we are having a pretty good attempt here, at least for now. Whether we will actually succeed here in defending the village, doubtful. And yeah, I'm already pretty happy. This is better than what I expected at the end of the day. We are looking at 60%. Every month it goes slightly down because old malices still stick. But we are going to be looking at pretty quick migration, I think. And since we have 2 oxen, since we have vegetable gardens and all that stuff, I think we are looking at potentially a really, really strong start next video into producing weaponry, which, well, undoubtedly is absolutely necessary since, like I said, there are no free weapons right here in our storehouse for us. And yeah, look at that. We are now only being pushed down to 47% after the month turned over, which means next month we should be over 50 even after the month turns over. And then we can start getting some migration. But you know, folks, I think this is where I will leave you here today. Episodes will be slightly longer than this one going forward, as we have a lot to do, like I said, especially here in the early years, and there's also a lot to talk about. We've only very slightly dipped into the role of the forest. We haven't even talked about rivers and so on. There's so much here that this game does right, and that this game allows me to talk about. And you know, I'm really, really eager to actually do that. For the time being, though, I'll leave it right here, and I'll see you later, alligator.